Hey everyone, check out how we've set up this Toyota 300 Series LandCruiser to tow a 22-foot Caravan around Australia. Alright everyone, welcome back to our 300 Series build series. Now this is episode 3. If I haven't mentioned it before, this is actually my everyday drive car thanks to Andrew and Bryony. However, it also is set up to tow my 22-foot leader Caravan. So in this episode, I'm going to show you through all the towing features that are pretty much available in it and what we've done to make it so. If I haven't said so already, this is my everyday drive car. However, I am towing a 22-foot leader Caravan. So being that the case, I need it set up for absolutely everything. 12-pin sockets, brake controller, camera integration into the factory screen, towing mirrors and suspension obviously to cater for the weight of the Caravan as well. So let's go through it all and I'll show you it all in a bit more depth. Alright, so we're going to start off with towing mirrors. Now I think these are an absolute must when you're towing a big Caravan, and so I'll go through what I've opted for and why. So I've opted for the Clearview Compact Mirrors. So obviously as you can see here they're extended out at the moment, but as my everyday drive car, when they're pushed all the way in, they're still a nice compact mirrors compared to some of your bulkier towing mirrors. Now I also opted for the compact as it's a single glass mirror. Now I'm not a big fan of the split mirrors in my personal preference. I find just the single glass so much easier to drive with and use on a day-to-day basis and when towing. Obviously, being a 300 Series packed full of features, these Clearview mirrors cater for all of those, from the cameras, the folding, the blind spot monitoring, and all those kind of factory features that these cars have are present in these mirrors. I think they look better on the car than the factory mirrors, and something that I highly recommend to anyone towing anything. So moving on, one of the crucial items in any towing setup is your electric brake controller. Now, in this particular build, I've opted for the Redarc Tow Pro Elite, the version 3, for a few reasons. Being it is one of the most tried and tested brake controllers out there and one I've used in every single vehicle myself. Really clean in-store. We're only left with a small dial up on the dash, which Redarc also have factory style blanks, so it looks nice and tidy on the dash. The volume style knob allows me to have adjustment of my Caravan brakes from 0, absolutely no brakes, to 10, being throw yourself through the windscreen brakes. Now, the amazing feature that I love with the Redarc Tow Pros is the automatic mode. So once you're in the automatic mode, we're cruising down the highway, if I need to suddenly slam on my brakes, it will sense how hard the nose of the vehicle dips and bring on the Caravan brakes nice and hard, regardless of what I have it set on. I think this is an excellent safety feature. Now, there are other brake controllers out there. There's even wireless options that are absolutely brilliant. However, being that this is my dedicated tow vehicle, I opted for the hardwired unit. That way I know I have a direct connection, a direct wired connection to my Caravan at all times when it's plugged in. The wireless options, they are great. It just did not suit my application in this particular build. So inside the vehicle, obviously there's another component in here that you can't see. It looks completely factory, but is absolutely brilliant. And what I'm talking about is the Advanced ICE camera integration. So Advanced ICE, basically, they do a module that ties into the factory head units on the VX upwards. So they don't currently have an option for the GXL at time of filming. And what it means is I can actually put my Caravan camera through the factory display screen. The VXs up have a lovely, nice big display inside the vehicle, and utilizing that for the Caravan camera is awesome. Reason why I opted to go for the integration over a standard camera monitor is to keep my dash nice and clean. Now, for those who tow and have used camera systems before, for your Caravan camera, you usually have a separate monitor mounted up on the dash or suction cupped to the windscreen. This, in my opinion, can create a blind spot while driving, and something that can be a bit of an annoyance up on the dash. Being able to have it displayed through the factory head unit and be crystal clear is absolutely brilliant, and I think it's a must when it comes to Caravan safety and towing. Being able to see behind your Caravan and the cars that are there, or when you need to pull back into a lane, is it should be, honestly, should be mandatory across the board on caravans. It's something that I highly push for people to get installed because a good camera system could save you while you're out on the road. Hi everyone, I'm just quickly going to jump in and interrupt this video to let you know that everything you are seeing in this build series is stuff that we can do for you. So I have a full workshop in Maroochydore. If you want to build the ultimate off-grid touring vehicle, click the links below, get in touch with us so we can sort it out for you. Anyway, I'll leave you with it. So now we're down the back of the car where basically all our towing connections are. So what I've done is, because we've got so much going on, we've actually again used an advanced ICE trailer bracket. So the factory trailer bracket is only designed to house a 7-pin socket. Usually when you add an Anderson plug or such kind of things, you know, you pretty much, we make up a bracket to bring it out, etc. Whereas Advanced ICE pretty much has put it all into one. So this bracket replaces the whole factory bracket, bolts in the exact same spots to give us more mounting options for all our towing connections. So we'll start pretty much over on this side here. What we've got is, which is one of my favorite features with the Advanced ICE bracket, is we've got a little pretty much circle ring, as you call it, that allows us to clip our breakaway carabiner onto. Now, anyone towing a caravan knows what I'm talking about, the breakaway cable that you usually got to wrap around a tow bar or try to find somewhere to clip it. They've actually given us an allowance to clip it straight to this bracket. I love it. Moving along, we've got the 12-pin socket. So this replaces your standard 7-pin socket. It controls all my caravan's lights, my electric brakes, and then we've got the extra pins in the 12. So what these extra pins are designed to do is they're designed to be set up to suit your caravan's manufacturer's requirements. In my case, I have pretty much some ignition triggers in through these other pins to be able to pretty much tell my caravan battery system when to turn on the DC-DC chargers when it sees an ignition signal through the trailer plug. Moving down the line, we've got two Anderson plugs here. Now, one is red and one is grey. Generally, a red Anderson plug is used for sway control and a grey Anderson plug is used for charging. Now, again, we recommend checking with your caravan's manufacturers to confirm this prior to getting anything installed to make sure it's suited to your van. In my case, I'm actually using my red Anderson plug on this bracket as a solar input to my rear dual battery system, which you'll see in a later video. And I've got a 4BS Anderson plug on the grey one. Now, I use the 4BS battery cable is because I've got a 400 amp lithium system in my caravan and I want to eliminate any chance of voltage drop across the board. And that's where that heavier cable comes in handy. Now, it's just a 50 amp Anderson plug, so my Alpha 100, so my Redarc Manager 100 is programmed to accept 50 amps of DC charge, which that cable is more than capable of handling. Another reason I beefed up my charge cable is because with lithium systems in caravans, you can also sometimes get a earthing issue through the brake controller, especially the Redarcs. They like to flash red due to an inadequate earth. Beefing up to a 4BS battery cable allows me to have a solid battery earth to avoid any sort of voltage ripples and voltage drop across the board. Moving down our Advanced ICE bracket, we have our Safety Dave Woza connection. So what this does is, it's basically very similar to your trailer plug, except it's for our camera. So we have a Woza cable that plugs into this, plugs into the caravan, and that gives us our caravan connection. So this, in my case, goes up into my Advanced ICE integration module and then talks through to my head unit, as you've previously seen. Other nifty feature on this bracket down the back is I have my manual airbag fillers. Now, being that I tow a heavy caravan and that this is my drive car, I do have airbags fitted, obviously, in this as well. It is part of the GVM upgrade, which you would have seen in episode 1. However, as much as I've got all onboard controls for these airbags, having a manual filler is still vital because it just allows that fail-safe if my compressor or something stopped working, that I can still inflate and deflate the airbags to suit. These brackets look absolutely awesome on the rear. They're solid and gives you so many mounting options to make sure that you've got all the connections you need to tow your caravan. Now, the last feature I'm going to point out as part of the towing setup is our 300 series tow ball cover cutout. You'll see here, so generally this cover on the rear you got to take off every time you want to put your hitch in. If you're like me, you like your car looking nice, when these covers is off, it's just all tow bar, it doesn't look the greatest. So we've actually cut out this cover around the tow hitch to suit. Now, if you do change hitches over frequently, you do need to pull the cover off to remove the pin. In my case, I've got the ball in at the moment, but when I go over to my DO35, I can pop this cover off, swap it out, fit it back on, and it just looks a much nicer and a cleaner aesthetic finish. So that's it at the rear of the 300 down here. I have all the connections I need to make sure I can tow safely and make sure my batteries stay charged, which is pretty much vital in any towing application. Now, as part of my towing setup, I run airbags. It also is part of the GVM upgrade, which you would have seen in episode 1. Historically, an airbag is designed basically to just add a bit of extra help in pretty much the ride height and the comfort of towing your caravan. They aren't designed to be used as like a suspension upgrade to, you know, bring your ride height up, because you still need to allow the coil in the suspension to pretty much do what it's designed to do. The airbag just adds that little bit of extra help. So, historically with airbags, what you have is your manual fillers, which I have down here on my advanced ice bracket. Manual fillers are great and all, however, it requires you to go to a service station, like you would fill up a tyre, to put some air into your airbags. What we've actually done with these drawer systems and part of the other accessories in this car is I have an ARB Twin Air Compressor in the side wing here. Now, this is obviously wired to run off my car when my vehicle is running, and it basically gives me onboard air as well as airbag control. So what I can do down here is I've got an Airbag Man gauge, which tells me my pressure in the left hand and right hand airbag at the same time. And then I have some paddle switches here, which basically allows me to adjust the air in the bag so I can inflate them and deflate them all from the back of my car. This allows me to do it in the middle of nowhere. As long as I can switch my air compressor on, I can adjust my airbags on the go, no need for airlines and those sorts of things all over the joint. This is, I think, you know, for usability and easeability of adjusting on the go and out there out there while traveling Australia, having on-board controls is a must. Now, another feature you can add into the Airbag Man system is a wireless remote. So that's basically you get like a little silver, looks like your garage remote. However, you can adjust your airbags up and down without even having to open up the back, as long as you've got the compressor on. That is an awesome add-on if you're trying to, you know, level out your ride height and play around with your pressures to see what works best for you. That's also another feature that Airbag Man offer. All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode going through all the stuff that's on this 300 for towing. Now, a lot of the people who buy these cars, it is to tow a caravan, so I hope you've taken something from this video that can help you make that experience a lot more easy. I can tell you right now, it tows like a dream. My favorite feature out of everything with this towing my caravan is the advanced ice integration into the factory head unit. It is a breeze to use, crystal clear to see the van and what's going on behind me. Anyway, if you have any questions about anything you've seen, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon, because we've got more videos about this car coming, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay out there.
Accelerate off-grid touring, powering your adventures.